name is Bill Levinson, Managing Partner with Levinson and Associates. With us today, we have Joseph Loughran, our Marketing Vice President, and then we have two special guest speakers joining us today. The first one is Stephen, who actually created the LEAD program. Okay, so he's going to give his insight, give you some tips, what works, what doesn't, all around the Mortgage Protection LEAD program. And then we're delighted to have a very successful Levinson agent all the way from Texas. So Ken is joining us as well, and he's taken time out of his busy day and schedule to jump on this webinar and share his tips and insight on the Mortgage Protection LEAD program. He was one of the founding agents and our pilot agent that started the program with us a few years back. So there's nobody that knows the program better than Ken. And he relies on this program for most of his life insurance premium and commission. So he is the best person to talk to and ask questions regarding the Mortgage Protection LEAD program. So we're delighted to have him join us. I know everybody is going to walk away with some great information. If you're using this program, great. If you want to start using it after the presentation, great. If you have your own LEAD program and you're simply just on here to learn what works, what doesn't, maybe to focus on some of the new LEAD scripts that we put together, that's fine too. We have no problem with that. The only thing we do ask, obviously, is that all business comes back through Levinson and Associates. So other than that, we're going to jump right in here. A couple new things that we're going to highlight. First off, we put together some new LEAD scripts. One has to do with cross-selling. The other one has to do with selling life insurance over the phone in general. So great stuff we're going to go over. We also have a brand new contest that we put together. So we have these new internet exclusive leads. They're 100% exclusive. And as you know, some of these leads can cost up to $100 in some cases. But what we did with this special contest, we're going to run this for 1 month. In fact, we have a slide just on this program, but I'm just giving you a quick 100-foot overview. We're going to run the contest for 1 month. A long story short, submit 5 applications in 1 month, and we will send you 5 exclusive leads at no cost. There's no minimum premium. The only thing we ask is that the 5 applications get placed and go in force, and then we email you your leads, and you can dial in age, criteria, everything that you want. So it's write 5 apps, get 5 exclusive leads for free. That simple. We're going to announce that in just a few more minutes here. Also, Joe, let's move forward to the next slide, and I want to mention one more thing. Okay, real quick, success story. So one of our GAs, a very, very successful agent with us for many, many years on the life and annuity side, very well educated. And, you know, he came to us, it's probably been 2 or 3 months, and he said, you know, with all of your tools, Bill, and all of your technology, I might as well go market this stuff and put a few agents in my downline. So what he did, one of the new agents that he signed up is brand new in the business. In fact, I think they're both on the call today. But one of the agents was brand new in the business, okay? And after we did an intro webinar and made sure that he was up to speed with all of our tools, technology, products, and quoting, and had his website up and running. So he orders his leads last week, okay? So first batch of leads ever in history. Forget, you know, having to do with Levinson, but first batch of leads he ever ordered. Brand new, rookie in the business, and he writes 2 out of the 12 leads that he received, totaling $5,000 of premium. So, and he didn't even get to the rest of his leads yet. So he already hit 2. It's been a week, and he literally, I mean, everything looks great. They're healthy. I'm sure they'll go in force. But so 2 apps, $5,000 of annualized premium. That's awesome for brand new in the business. So the reasoning and the reason why I wanted to share this is because the program works. You know, here's someone brand new in the business, which we always suggest someone maybe go work captive, go learn the ropes with say, a New York Life or a Mass Mutual or Penn Mutual, and then you go out to the brokerage world. Well, this agent came in brand new, worked with one of our GAs, and literally has a slam dunk $5,000 of commissionable premium. So, and who knows what's going to come out of the rest of the leads. So great story. I just heard this a couple days ago, and I was excited to share. Okay, so with that said, without further ado, we're going to jump right into the Mortgage Protection Lead Program. So each lead is exclusive to the agent that orders. The minimum order is 14 leads. Okay, with that, you get 2 free leads with every order of 14. So the pricing comes out to $18, which we all know that is a huge savings. This is a co-op price. Exclusive leads can range anywhere from $20 to over $100. So, I mean, that within itself is a huge value. And then as you can see in front of you, as the orders go up, 17 and then 20, you get an additional free lead with every order. So at 20 leads ordered, 4 free leads. And that's just, you know, if you get a client on the phone that maybe isn't healthy, maybe they don't qualify for a fully underwritten case or whatever the situation is, you have 4 freebies to make up for anything that doesn't pan out for you. So that's just a nice gesture on our part, just to say thank you, and again, to make up for any leads that don't pan out for you. There's no minimum order. So, you know, we've heard all of these horror stories from these third-party internet lead companies where they keep charging your credit card and half the leads that people aren't alive, and these nightmares. So we purposely steered away from that, and we put together an awesome program with Stephen, and it works, okay? Proof is in the pudding. Like I always say, the program works. You can go on our Facebook page. We have a bunch of testimonials from real agents that shared their input with the program, so it does work. So every Monday you will get an email, okay, that just says you have to get your order in today, and then the leads are received within 24 hours. So before we close on Tuesday, your leads will be in your inbox. If you're not getting those emails every Monday asking you if you would like to order, just let us know and just say, hey, I want to be enrolled in the program, and we'll just include your email address. But you should be getting them. But if you're not, just let us know. Most important, the last bullet here, all lead business must be placed through us, okay? Every time you order a batch of leads, it costs us money for you to participate. So obviously, we want to get our money back, and we're entitled to make a small profit to bring all of this technology and great sales programs to you. The only thing we ask is any and all business that gets written comes back through Levinson, okay? And with almost 100 companies on the life, annuity, long-term care side, there's no reason to not use us, especially with our commissions and cash for contracting incentives. There really is no reason. And if you have a commission prior to coming to us that's much higher, send me that grid, call me, we'll work out something where you're happy, we're happy, everybody wins. Okay, so what we're going to do now is introduce Stephen, who actually created the program, and then after Stephen talks, Ken will come on. We're going to ask him a few questions and get some dialogue going, and I think everybody will love Ken, a great, great guy. And just so everyone is aware, if you want to speak to Ken further after the call, he is available. He does a lot of consulting work. He has his own downline as well. So if you're interested in pursuing that avenue, just call me here or Joe, and we will make sure to get you in touch with Ken. We have no problem with that whatsoever. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to introduce Stephen, who created the program, also a personal friend of Carrie, my father, for longer than I've been in the business, which is a very long time. So we have a lot of respect for him. We trust him 100%. He's not just some third party that came off the street and said, hey, I have a great lead program. So without further ado, we're going to introduce Stephen, the CEO and the creator of the lead program. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am, Bill. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
And
we're
thanks
just going to
all the agents. Yeah.
Yep, no, that's number one. Without our agents, we wouldn't be here. So, okay, with that said, we're going to ask Stephen just a few questions that all of these questions and feedback came from our agents out there in the field. So I think everything will be useful for everyone on the call. The first one is, it's just if you can give our agents some insight on the design, the management of the LEAD program, its intention, just the way it was designed to work overall, Steve.
Sure, Bill. Quickly speaking, the information that's compiled that goes into each of these leads are from mortgages that have closed all over the United States. And it's done county by county. So the data is gathered on a county, per county basis. And these mortgages are for new homes. They could be for refinancing. They could be second mortgages. They could even be equity loans. I would say probably from the time that they're actually compiled, in other words, recorded in the county of the area, to the agent, when they land in the agent's inbox, it's probably no more than about 10 days. So they're very timely, and they are exclusive, as Bill had said. The management is an interesting thing because being an end user, formerly an end user of lead programs like this myself, I know what I wanted. I know what I hopefully could expect. And that's what I put forward in this program for Levinson agents. Basically, we filter every lead that's compiled, that comes to us. And what that means is we probably only use about 40% of the total amount of leads that we get. And that's because we look very closely at the mortgage amounts. We look very closely, especially closely, at the ages of the respondents, of the people that are sending this back. And thirdly, and this is something that people don't realize, is we look at the height and weight. Because we want to give the particular agent the best shot at, as Bill mentioned before, an insurable person. And you get a lead, nice mortgage amount, good age, but the person is 5'10", 340 pounds, and maybe even a smoker. We're not going to distribute that lead because for me, as an agent, as an end user, that's not usable. So the long and short of it is we take a lot of effort to put out the best quality lead to the agents that we can. And I can tell you again, from my experience, which is many, many years, there's no other lead program that will use a filtering system as we do to focus in on the very best quality lead, each lead that we send off to the agents.
Yep, great stuff. And I also want to add, it's important that everyone knows that these leads don't go, or they're not offered to any other IMOs or MGAs or BGAs, whatever you want to call them, out in the market space. So everything is exclusive to Levinson. Okay, so that's also really important to know. He doesn't have some huge company with 300 employees that are marketing all over the country. It's just him and us and the agent. So very important to know. Number two here, and this is important, we always suggest that you give us at least 3 counties to work with, okay, and then we try to fulfill those areas. But in a lot of cases, depending on the area that you're requesting, the leads are going to fall outside of your requested county. So if Steve can just talk a little more about how the program was designed with this in mind, Steve.
Okay, Bill. Well, obviously, we will always first go to the desired area that the agent has listed. And as Bill mentioned, you know, we certainly suggest multiple counties. Now, that being said, and I really appreciate the agents that have the good sense just to say, you know, they're from the state of Nebraska. That's where they're licensed, and anywhere in Nebraska, because even with multiple counties, aside from agents that are requesting from very, very large metropolitan areas, in most cases, there's not going to be anything close to filling the needs of one or two counties. We'll always go to areas within the state that will provide the very, very best quality leads. Now, sometimes we will even choose, and this is our choice, because again, as ultimately an end user of this kind of product, I know what I feel is the best lead. I will sometimes select outside the area that's been requested versus inside the area, because the outside area lead is so much of better quality, again, based on the criteria I mentioned before. But first and foremost, agents that get involved in this program, and any of you that have been, you know what I'm saying, is that you have to feel comfortable and proficient in your ability with e-apps and drop tickets. You have to be good on the phone.
Yep, that's and that's exactly the reason why we came out with these new voice scripts. So that's so important. And I will also mention we have a few agents that say are resident license down here in Florida, and they'll order leads and get a non-resident license, say in Nebraska. You know, let's say you know, in a small town out of North Carolina or South Carolina, whatever the case is. Just to try to get those requested counties. So that's another idea. It's always more populated, more leads are ordered in those high traffic areas, California, Texas, Florida. So you can get a little creative in that way too. The last question here for Steve, and this question comes up all the time, is, you know, what are the numbers? So what can I expect to sell out of one batch, or what's the average premium for one batch, and how much money are agents making annually from using the LEAD program? And it's very hard to dissect those numbers, but if Stephen can just give us like a rough overview. So what are some of the results that the agents can expect when participating in the program?
Sure, and I'll defer somewhat to Kent and his personal stories and experience and the end of things. But firstly, I think the very best thing about this mortgage lead program is that it opens new doors to agents. Okay, none of these leads by any means is a laydown, but what it does provide to the agent is a prospect that's very approachable. Remember, each and every lead you receive has been filled out. The questionnaires, the information has been personally filled out by the people themselves. So they're expecting phone calls. They're submitting multiple phone numbers, home, et cetera, to be contacted. So that is an open door to an agent, an approachable prospect. Okay. And now what you have in front of you is a prospect on the other side of the phone line that you can talk about their needs, okay? An agent that is good and is comfortable on the phone is going to do great. They're going to excel. For any of you that have taken the opportunity, for instance, to listen to Todd Ewing's talks about phone marketing, understand two things. Number one, success is absolutely connected to your phone skills. And secondly, the two basic approaches that an agent always needs to have on the phone is to be pleasant and to be professional, okay? That being said, I'm going to throw around a few basic numbers with you folks, okay? And let's say an agent has ordered a batch of 17, which in effect totals 20, because they'll be getting 3 free leads along with it, okay? Let's assume, and I'm being very modest, and Kent on the other line might be chuckling to himself as they run through these numbers, but I'll do it as an exercise. Let's assume that of those 20 leads, you're going to close 1 or 2 of them. first round of calls, okay? Let's then assume that 3 to 5 more of those leads of the batch of 20 are going to be closed after multiple calls, okay? So, and I'm going to use a very, again, modest annual premium of $600 a year per app, $50 a month, okay? So, again, modestly speaking, on a given batch, you're looking anywhere from $1,000 of annual premium to $3,000 of annual premium, okay? Remember this, your results will be directly related to your efforts and your ability on the phone. You got to ask questions. You got to ask a lot of questions, and then you have to listen. You got to listen to what these people are saying on the other end of the phone, and that's where you're going to harvest the bigger sales, where you're going to bring in the larger premium, and that's my view of things. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, no, that was great. Okay, so we appreciate you, Steve, taking the time. Next, we're going to introduce Ken all the way from Texas. And like I said earlier, he's been using the program since day one. He heavily relies on the Mortgage Protection Lead program for his annual income. So we know the program works, and he will tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, every part of the program. And what we did once again is we compiled a bunch of agent questions that we received over the years, and we put together 4 of these, which we're going to go over right now. And first of all, I want to thank you, Ken, again for taking the time, and I know how busy you are. So we're not paying him for this. There's no reimbursement whatsoever. He's truly taking time out of his day to help Levinson and Associates and our agents. So special thank you for that. And let's roll right into this. We want to go pretty quickly here. I know we have a hard stop at 3 o'clock Eastern time. First question is, what changes, if any, have you seen with selling life insurance over the phone in the last few years? Is everything pretty much status quo, or are you seeing consumers a little more comfortable and willing to share information online and over the phone, or what's been your take on that, Ken?
Yeah, I'm kind of chuckling because zebras don't lose their stripes, as we all know. People are people, but good point. As time passes, we learn many things, and so I would say the top 3 changes that come to mind are, people are bombarded with so many emails and junk mail that the phone, believe it or not, is actually a fresh way to do business. That just sounds so archaic when I say it in myself, because I've been into a technology world of my career, and it just seems like the phone is just that's like snail mail. But I will tell you that it's come full circle, because if you think about the logic behind that comment, is in the email, we get so many emails, we just ignore those emails now, and people are just bombarded with so much that the phone is actually becoming old school methodology is really the best form of business, and I think a lot of people would agree with that and even learn that if they would give it a try. Secondly, many agents want to set up a meeting to get face-to-face out in the field, and that's always a great action to take. I believe in it. I think it's wonderful, and I personally do better when I'm face-to-face. I'm very confident with that. But let's talk about that real quickly. You're basically able to maybe set up 4 meetings out there in the field in a day, and that's driving all over the city. I live in Dallas, and if I go to Fort Worth or I go, either direction, I'm limited to the number of meetings that I can actually perform that day, whereas if I'm on the phone, I have multiple leads, and that would require you to purchase the leads. You can get 20 to 30 quality calls out a day, mixed in with all of your other responsibilities, and you have a better chance of catching something that's going to have some value to it, where you have a chance to, yes, close on 1 or 2 deals if you're driving around, and hopefully 4 but I think everybody gets the message that the phone is you have a comfortable office in your home or, wherever you have your office, you're able to make a lot of ground happen with that phone. Thirdly, I would say that many agents, they also want to set up meetings to get face-to-face when you can be delivering quotes and getting personal on the phone or immediately, getting a relationship built. It kind of ties in with the last one I said, but when you're out there doing what you're doing, these people may say, well, I've got a meeting set up next week. Well, when you hear that, it's your opportunity to go directly into a relationship building conversation and provide them with verbal quotes and then get them an email that connects you with them so that you're the first point of contact. Don't, that delay of somebody going to meet them is to your advantage. Don't ever think it's not. So hopefully that helps, Bill.
Yeah, no, great point. And just from what we are seeing and hearing in our office and down here in South Florida is people are just becoming more and more comfortable. I feel like the days of the kitchen table sale on a Wednesday night after dinner and the kids are going to sleep, I think those days are pretty much over. So you have to be comfortable on the phone. You have to be comfortable with an e-application. I know you've heard it 3 or 4 times already, but it's so true. Also, I'll add, I heard one of our guest speakers said what he does when he gets his batch of leads is he'll text every single person just as kind of like a warm-up intro. And then when he makes the call, a lot of times they'll say, oh, yeah, I received your text this morning, and I was kind of expecting your call. Or it's just kind of he plants the seed, and I thought that was a great idea. It's obviously free for you to text, but I like that as well. Okay, moving into the next question here, and this also is a very popular question, is how do you open up the conversation and start a dialogue on your first attempt or call? What are some of the questions that you use to get the conversation going? Because, we all know some people are waiting for your call, others really don't want to be bothered, and it's your job to kind of turn that around into a sale. So I'll let Ken take it from here. What are your thoughts?
Sure. And a lot of times, again, Bill said I would speak straight, and I do. A lot of people are going to forget that that they sent that questionnaire in. Now, did they really forget? A lot of times I'm like, yeah, right. But as an agent, we're always, playing the card of, weighing on the side of, okay, I'm going to give you the mercy and go along with your comments here. But so I open the dialogue by just saying, hello, John, my name is Kent Sawyers, and I'm following up on a recent questionnaire. You answered questions in return regarding mortgage protection insurance on a recent refinance or purchase of your home. I have and you just go right into it. You don't give them a chance to speak. I have your home address as, 620 Cedar Street. Your date of birth is 12/31/64. Your height and weight is showing to be 180 pounds and 6'1", with a mortgage balance of $235,000. Is all of this correct information? You start asking questions, and then you ask, I'm assuming you have a 30-year mortgage, so I can provide you with verbal quotes, and I'd like to send you an email. What is your email address? So you want to go for that email address, but you first want to go through this little small introductory period of why you're calling, obviously. None of this is rocket science. It's just a short script, and once you do it hundreds, if not thousands of times, it just rolls off your tongue, and that's where everybody needs to become, is so comfortable that you can do this. And if you take an application over the phone, you need to be able to do this without an application in front of you. The idea behind all of this is to get so very comfortable that you don't need an application in front of you. You don't need a script. That's when you know that you own your own business and you're truly treating it like a business. So let me go through it one more time. If you're taking notes, if you want more, just, call Bill. He'll tee you up with me. Hello, John. My name is Kent Sawyers, and I'm following up on a recent questionnaire. You answered questions in return regarding mortgage protection and insurance on a recent refinance or purchase of your home. I have your home address as X, your date of birth is X, your height and weight is X, and I show that you have a mortgage balance of $230,000, and I'm assuming you have a 30-year mortgage. Is all of this correct, and are you still looking for mortgage protection insurance? So you just ask that question, and then you say, I want to provide you some verbal quotes. You're giving them the impression there's no pressure here. It's not a pressure sales call. We're here for information gathering purpose for you to make a good business decision. I would like your email address to then deliver this to you, and I'll be following up. It's a very light touch. In the world that we're in, we don't want to oversell and upsell. We really want to undersell and over-deliver, because what you would rather do is just build their confidence. And sometimes when people see that you're trying to provide them a service of what they want instead of trying to make money off of them, it's much better delivery, and it's accepted and received much better on the other end. So that's the way I would do it.
Yep, no, that's perfect. That was a great opener. Now, I know we all have heard so many different objections, so this is very general, but what are some of the more common objections that you hear, Ken, and then how do you get over those objections? If you can just give us a few examples, that would be great.
Yeah, I have three I think that are important. They might just make the comment of, I'm already meeting with another agent next week, which is going to come up a lot. And if that's the case, say, hey, that's great. I understand that you have someone that you've spoken with, but are you opposed to hearing verbal quotes where I can send them to you by email? That's all you need to ask. And then once you start that dialogue, what are they going to say? No, I'm opposed to doing that because I simply want to go with this other person. You might get that, but most of the time I don't. Most people are open-minded. If you can quote them something, then they're going to have a gauge for a pricing with the person they're going to meet with. But, you have a high chance of winning their business if you get their ear and you speak with them. The second objection I would bring to your attention is, well, it's too expensive. It just costs too much. Believe it, you guys will, you'll get that a lot. But before they even go there, I would highly suggest that you provide them with a verbal quote on a conservative approach. In other words, don't try to oversell these people. What you're dealing with are budget-sensitive people that are trying to make a living. And yes, in Dallas, we have a great economy. Things are booming. Property appreciation is fantastic. People are spending money, the stock market's doing good, and everybody feels great. Well, that's what drives spending habits. And this conversation could go on a lot different on another month, another year, and it has in the past based on those spending habits. But basically what you're trying to do, no matter what the spending habits are of the people, is trying to get their trust. And the way you get their trust is you don't try to upsell them, you try to just give them what they're asking for, and then on the back end, upon approval, when they get a Preferred Plus approved, you're going to want to come back and say, hey, you're young, and this is the healthiest you'll ever be, and I know we only got you $250 to cover your mortgage, but just a thought, maybe you ought to look at $500,000 or $1 million, because $250,000 is only going to cover your mortgage, and you've got Preferred Plus. Why don't we look at getting you a higher, face amount on your insurance? So my point is sometimes when you undersell, you build their trust, and they like that because they know that, you're coming at them from an angle of, hey, this guy is all about integrity, because that's what we all should be about. Finally, the third thing is, can you call me next week? Because you're going to get that a lot. And so the most important thing in the process is the follow-up, as Steve mentioned. And the follow-up is critical in this business. And if you do not follow up, you will not make one sale. I can tell you, you'll probably not make a sale on the first call. You'll probably not make a sale on the second call. You'll probably make these sales on the 8th, 9th, or 10th call. So if it were me, I would take that and write that in a big, bold, black magic marker in front of you that you have to follow up or you are not going to make it in this business. So when they say, can you call me next week? Absolutely you are, but you're overcoming that objective is really a state of mind, of mental toughness, because it's all about you're becoming mental tough enough to be organized and becoming very consistent and persistent with this business, because that's the only way you can make a sale.
Awesome. That was perfect. Okay, we have one last question here, and right after Kent's done, just so everyone knows, we're going to go over the lead reimbursement program and then the apps for free leads contest. So just sit tight. We're probably about 10 minutes away from finishing. Okay, so our last question here is, so once the client says, you know what, Kent, I'm in, this sounds great, how do you prepare them for the next steps? Because we all know this is where things can go sour. So how do you talk about the next steps and the follow-up?
Yeah, it's actually my favorite part of any conversation, because you're excited and they're getting things and you're wrapping it up. So you give them a 60-second version of, hey, listen, this is, I'd like to explain explain to you how everything works from A to Z, from the beginning until you receive your policy. So we're going to do a 5-minute interview on the phone, and you're going to answer questions, things that I don't have, like social security number, driver's license, things that are relevant and important that I don't have. You're going to then sign the documents. We're going to then schedule you a health exam, and that exam will be a place of your choice. And by the way, I pay for that exam. You don't have any money coming out of your pocket at this point. And then your underwriting is going to take an average of about 60 days. There's no money exchanged from you at this point until after the 60 to 90-day period when you're approved, and then delivery of the policy takes place after I call you and we come to an agreement with that's what you want, and then we'll set up payment arrangements. So 98%, folks, of my business includes an exam. I know that there are a lot of you that like to, go for the non-exam, and some people don't like to give blood, and some people don't like to go through, lots of hoops, but, that's the business that you choose to build, and that's great. Either way is fine, but just put it in a real simple term to these people, or a simple way for them to understand that, wow, this is easy. As an agent, I'll tell you, I spoon feed my clients. Some people would say that's crazy, but listen, I fill out and do as much as I can for them. People are typically lazy. People are procrastinators. And if you want to get paid a paycheck, then you as an agent must own your business and do most of the work. So I'll leave you with that, Bill, and Joe and Steve. Thank you, everybody. Good luck.
Oh, that was perfect. We really, really appreciate that, Ken. Great job. Okay, and I'll also give you just a few pointers here before we move forward. Just a few things I'll mention. And I hope everyone has that pen and paper handy. So Todd Ewing, they both mentioned a few times, we had a 3-part training series that we recorded. So it was 3 separate webinars, and he talked all about selling over the phone, all the tools, technology, tips, pointers. So if anyone is interested in that 3-part series, we will email that out to you. Obviously, we have taken care of everything, so just let us know, and we'll shoot you an email. Also, I want to just back up for a second how, Ken was talking about the final step there. Okay, we're going to even back up from there. So the last question had to do with the follow-up once the client says, okay, let's move forward. Lately we're hearing about a lot of these call centers. So in other words, you'll have one of your clients, and let's say the client goes on your website and they run a quote and they say, Bill, I want to buy a policy, and then a third-party call center takes over from there. Well, a lot of times, okay, first of all, they take a big portion of your commissions. Second, a lot of times that's where things fall through the cracks, because there's literally someone in another country that barely speaks English talking to your clients, and by the time everything is said and done, you lost the case, okay? So be very careful with those kinds of operations, A. The second thing I'm going to mention, if your client is a little hesitant on the phone and, they don't want to commit to the $50 a month or, whatever the premium is, you can just say, listen, right now there's no financial obligation whatsoever. We pay for the exam. We handle everything. You don't pay for anything. If you change your mind in a couple weeks, you are not obligated to give us a penny, okay? Everything is COD. Once we get the approval, I'll call you. Bill, you got Preferred Plus. Do you now want the $250,000 policy? Absolutely. Okay, as soon as you get the policy, which will come in the mail, that's when you send me a check. And if you still change your mind, no problem. So that's another good way to handle a client that's a little on the fence. Also, another thing I'm going to add, if there's other agents that are talking to your same client, okay, because let's face it, they can fill out several mortgage protection mailers. It happens all of the time. Most agents are going in for that quick sale where they get the most commissions, and that's typically on a non-med term product that's most widely used in this arena or this space because the commissions are higher and they're in and out. So if that happens, okay, I promise you 9 out of 10 times, if you quote a fully underwritten product on our website, you are going to beat that premium by anywhere from 10 to 50%, and you're going to get the sale every time. Yes, they have to do an exam, but it's going to save them 30, 40% of premium every month or every year. So that's another great hook. So keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, let's move forward here. Again, thanks to our guest speakers. The lead reimbursement program. This is very, very easy, and this shows that we believe in the program and it works. So the way it works, you order the leads, and whatever leads that you convert into a policy, we reimburse you for that lead, so you wind up paying $0 for that lead sold. Okay, so great program here. Take advantage of this. We have some agents that sell 3 to 4 per batch. Again, so we'll pay you for those leads that are sold. Also, jot this down. Once you hit $10,000 of paid premium in any calendar year, we send you free orphan leads, okay? And that could be anywhere from 3 to 30 or 40, depending on your area and what state you're licensed in. So as soon as you hit $10,000 of annualized premium, just let us know. We'll send you free orphan leads, and these are slam dunk cases, okay? We have a whole pitch that is built around these, but they are a great way to get your foot in the door, and they're free. Okay, Joe's going to show you some of our new resources that we put together, some of our lead scripts, some great new information that will help you be successful. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Real quick, I want to show everybody a sample mortgage lead just so you know what you're looking at when you receive those leads on Tuesday evening. Of course, it's going to have the county, the mortgage amount. A lot of times, some of these do not have the mortgage amount. That just means the client didn't actually write that in, but it's easily found just by doing a quick search online. Of course, the client's address, a lot of these leads are going to have a borrower and co-borrower. It could be a spouse. So most of the times it is a spouse. You'll see both information, name, date of birth, height and weight, all the information we need, the contact information. Very, very important. If you don't reach that client, obviously on the home phone, there's a cell phone number there, which is always a second great resource. A lot of times agents will say, I couldn't get a hold of the client, and they skipped over that mobile phone, which most people use today as their primary phone for contact. So very, very important. Bill mentioned some brand new lead scripts. That's what you're looking at on this screen. Everyone will receive an email with all this information attached, so you can actually take a look at it. The mortgage lead, frequently asked questions, which will go over common objections from clients, how to get around some different questions, and how to really deliver and make that sale. Brand new for this week, we actually just put all these together. The term and final expense close script, it's about 4 pages long. It'll run through all different scenarios, what information you should be asking that client, what type of medical information you should be gathering, and how to position term and final expense. And then on the far right-hand side there, you'll see the ultimate cross-selling close. If you've written a policy in the past, whether it be health or a med sup product, how to transition into that life insurance sale. So those are great field-tested scripts that will be available and, of course, included in that email this afternoon. You will also receive a great piece from that 3-part telesales training series that Bill mentioned with Todd Ewing called The 7 Habits to Telesales Mastery, so we'll include that in the email. We'll basically help walk through actually creating rapport with those new prospects and those new clients that you're getting on the phone. So a lot of great resources. One thing I do want to mention real quickly here before I turn it back to Bill, we have some of the best insurance carriers and products at your fingertips. You're looking at a screenshot of KerryLevinson.com. You'll see on the left-hand side in blue, it says Simplified Issues / non-med plans. That'll give you access to every single non-med product in the industry. We can actually even go up to $1 million of coverage, not only for term, but also universal life, index universal life, and especially with disability income, we can go up to $6,000 a month for a disability income policy with no paramed exam, which is huge, especially if you transition from a life insurance sale into disability to not only pay the mortgage amount, but all the other bills that client's going to have on a monthly basis. So great material available. It will be sent out again this afternoon with a recording of today's call.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Good stuff, as always. So our brand new lead program, this is a contest we just announced. We're going to run this for 4 weeks, okay? And it's very, very simple. There's no minimum premium. There's no specific carriers or products. Long story short, write 5 applications through Levinson. Okay, obviously you have to be active with us. Write 5 apps. In the next 4 weeks, we send you 500% exclusive leads. You can dial it down to your zip code, age range, income range, and we'll send you these out free via email as soon as those 5 apps go in force. That's simple. Write 5 apps, get 5 free leads within a 4-week period, no minimum premium. This is just the beginning of these new lead contests, but we're going to try to run these at least every other month for all of our agents. Okay, moving forward here, we're done in a few more minutes. I promise you we're just about wrapping up here. Agency Automator. This is a free tool for all Levinson active agents, okay? So if you're writing at least 1 app per month, which is nothing, this is 100% free for you. This is a CRM tool that manages all of your existing clients and leads. You heard Steve and Ken talk about follow-up, how important it is. Most sales are made between the 5th and 12th follow-up call or email. Very, very important. This system manages all of your data for you at your fingertips. It all runs on autopilot. My favorite part, you can go in the system every month and you can say, I want to work in this zip code, I want these age ranges, this salary range, and the system will give you 1,000 new prospects that fall into your custom criteria every month. So you'll have 1,000 names, phone numbers, emails, and addresses that you can go market to, and it's 100% free for you. So everyone should be taking advantage of the Agency Automator. Okay, and if it looks a little cumbersome or you say, hey, I'm a little behind technology-wise, we have bi-weekly trainings that are live training events by the creator of the program. So there's no excuse to not get your arms wrapped around the Agency Automator. And I'm not kidding, folks. This is going to take you to the next level. If you participate, you're willing to learn the program, okay? Just think about this, 1,000 new prospects to market to every month so you can get in the door and share your story, okay? Great stuff here with the Agency Automator. Okay, some of the agent training events that are coming up. Again, jot these down. Agency Automator is every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we have the Agency Automator Plus, which is built for recruiting agents. So it's the same concept as the regular Automator, but in this case, you go in, you tap into our database of 500,000 licensed agents in the country, and you can dial it in by zip code, what kind of license they hold. The system will spit out names, numbers, emails, and addresses of agents in your area so you can recruit and share your story, which is the name of the game. Use all of our tools, technology, everything that we're talking about. You're going to market to agents and build your very own downline so you can start making overrides. Okay, Phoenix Life and Annuity Training webinar on the 16th, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then on the bottom there, we have a Agency Automator walkthrough webinar that me and Joe are going to host on the 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So again, for you, and if you have any downline agents, make sure you get this information out to them. If you ever want to see what's coming up for this particular week or the following month, go on our website, click on the training calendar, and you can see everything up and coming, and then you can register right from there. Okay, we make it very, very simple for you. Okay, the last slide here. As you know, I love the motivational stuff. I think it's so important that you keep your eye on the ball and learn. Even if you use 10% of what we spoke about today, you're 10% further than you were before the webinar started. So keep that positive mindset. When you're talking to these prospects, they don't know who you are, okay? Sound energetic. Be in the right state of mind and do whatever it takes to get to that place. So we're going to end with this. That's a picture of me in Whistler, Canada, and I absolutely love this saying because it's so important. Today is a new opportunity to become a better version of yourself, and only you can control the outcome. We'll end with that. Have a great rest of the week, a good weekend, and great selling. Take care.